if they're going to be successful tonight.
A win tonight would put the exclamation point on the Huskies as the team of the 90s in this conference. As for St. John's, first title game in 13 years here at Madison Square Garden. What do they have to do to win it?
Well, they have to go to their strength. There's no doubt about it, and that's athleticism and tenacity. Now, St. John's, a great offensive rebounding team. They get to the boards quickly, and then they use their great leaping ability to be able to convert those second chance opportunities. The last time these two teams meet, it was 21 offensive rebounds for St. John's.
That's the storyline tonight here at Madison Square Garden. There's a special thing on the line. Being a champion in the world's most famous arena. Will it be the Player of the Year Hamilton or Ron Artest to lead his team on title night? Jim Burr working his 10th Big East Championship game more than any other official. He's the referee. John Cal and Bob Donato, the umpires. Their first ever Big East title game. The Huskies in white, and we're underway in the Garden. The first shot is a Hamilton triple. Bosco kept it alive. El Ami finds Rip.
Great movement right away from Rip Hamilton after he takes the shot. Didn't just stand there and admire it.
Set St. John's for you. That's Bootsy Thornton. The double. He finds Reggie Jesse. Thornton received it back. Grant inside. Got fouled on the floor by Bosco.
Well, both teams really attacking right away off the offensive rebound. There's a play made by El Amin. He's one guy that UConn would love to get started, not so much shooting the ball, but as a distributor. As he goes, so goes Rip Hamilton.
Barkley's running the baseline, the other guard. The big guys are out top right now. Jesse and Artest.
UConn in a 2-3 zone, trying to slow the attack. They recognize St. John's would love to run with them.
Barkley couldn't penetrate. Artest from the outside. El Amin, the rebound, the push. And Rip says, come on along. Stops in the middle and pulls up for two. Toe on the tape. A deuce for Hamilton.
Once again, the UConn strength. Get the offense, get the rebound, and push the ball up. First pass, outlet pass is the one that's key.
No trap at the baseline, but a St. John's turnover.
Take a look here. The outlet pass made to El Amin, and look at the spread floor. Rip Hamilton recognizes the advantage at the top. And you can't give him too many open looks like that.
This looks like the UConn team that earned its way to #1. Almost as long as any other team was #1 in the country this year. Duke will come close to them once the weekend. Hamilton is 3 for 3.
And despite the St. John's zone, which was designed to try to slow the offensive attack a little bit, make UConn think about it, Hamilton's not thinking. He's unconscious right now.
As good as Richard Hamilton has looked in a long time. This first 100 seconds of this one. Artest works on Freeman. A couple of St. John's turnovers.
Once again, Rip Hamilton getting off early, moving without the ball, not standing, and then prepared to shoot as soon as he receives.
Connecticut 6, St. John's nothing. St. John's had to work harder in its semifinal. El Amin up top. Hits a 3! Mike Jarvis with a patient settle down. No timeout. Barkley working on Ricky Moore, the defensive glove of this conference. Etan Thomas of Syracuse, the shot blocker, maybe the defensive player of the year.
I'll tell you, Mike, one of the differences in this game, UConn's been here before. St. John's pretty much new to the conference finals. UConn's experience showing right now as they get off to a quick start.
Freeman on the fly! Timeout, St. John's!
The Red Storm, they're stunned. Lightning has struck them. This is UConn style. Quick outlet pass. You see it up beyond the three-point line. Ball never touches the floor. And that's what we talk about. Lightning quick. And the Johnnies are stunned, as I said before.
You want to talk about us not looking like a #1 seed? Take those 2 minutes and 42 seconds, say the Huskies.
Well, here's where, again, the experience in the finals really count. I mean, 11-0 at the beginning of a game, certainly that's surprising. Certainly it's stunning, but it's not the end of the ball game. We have to see how the young players from St. John's respond right now. And one of the ways they can do that is to continue to play their game. They've got to get some good shots up, though, so they can go to their strengths, hitting the boards, playing good, strong play in the paint.
Hamilton took it away as Grant was going inside. Hamilton with El Amin. 13-0. Tyrone Grant hurt his hand again.
We told you at the beginning of the telecast, opportunistic defense, getting out in transition, putting points on the board and going on extended runs. That's the UConn game, and they're at the top of it right now.
Artest tries to put the Red Storm on the board. 3.5 dry minutes, and the Huskies keep running. Freeman again! What a catch! Couldn't finish. St. John's may get a quick answer. They need one. Barkley will try to do it himself.
Quick shots will not get it.
Artest fading. Barkley again. And he got fouled.
First opportunity St. John's has had to go to their strength, hitting the offensive glass. But unfortunately, again, the experience factor, St. John's looking to try to get back into this ball game all at once. Quick shots. They don't have the board covered except for that last possession. And really, UConn has had their way going the other way.
To the line comes Eric Barkley, who wears 12, like another great New York City point guard did in his high school days. Kenny Anderson. Suleiman Wan comes in for UConn. Jake Voskal will take a seat. And LeVar Postel, who is an insurgent of attitude and athleticism off the Red Storm bench.
Absolutely, and also energy. Good defender, excellent offensive rebounder, who's got great three-point range. His focus right now is going to be on the defensive end and certainly helping his team on the board.
Grant sits with that hand injury, and Mike Jarvis said this afternoon at an early midday shoot-around, not going to take any chances for the NCAAs. One inside. Sewell, who had 4 points in the semifinal victory over Syracuse. His first points in quite some time. Ricky Moore read it, stole it against Artest. Ron Artest throws it back. Official timeout. The Huskies are 7 of 9 from the field to start the game. St. John's hasn't hit a field goal. They've turned it over 4 times. And the beast of the Big East in the 90s trying to close the decade in grand fashion.
So you finally...
Blocked by Juan. Artest. Finally, the Red Storm make a field goal.
The best offensive possession St. John's has had. They ran a play, they had the boards covered, and once again, utilizing their strength, their athleticism, down low, able to convert on the second chance opportunity.
And you think that's a place where they can have success tonight on the offensive glass?
Absolutely. You saw how Artest was rooted down low. No one on UConn's squad is able to push him out of there.
Reggie Jesse was grabbing the jersey of Richard Hamilton, thus the foul.
That's the point that we made, again, at the beginning of the telecast, the fact that St. John's very strong on the boards. You see how Artest was rooted down there. Really wasn't a whole lot that Kevin Freeman could do with him.
Of the above-the-rim looks that we've been giving you all week during championship week. The ACC, the Big Ten, and here in the Big East. 26 on the shot clock as Harrison inbounds. 2 starters on the bench for Jim Calhoun, but El Amin's going to come in at the next whistle. Hamilton scored a quick 6. Player of the year into the conference with Tim James. Lost it on the handle. Red Storm run. Barkley. 4 of the St. John 6.
Well, St. John said that they would love to run with UConn, but they didn't expect to sprint with them. Right now, though, they've got the control of its tempo back to where they're more comfortable, playing good defense on the end, at least up until then.
One to Ricky Moore, a Suleiman Wan assist. Are you kidding me? It's his 9th of the year in 30 games. Lead a dozen. Artest out high working on Freeman. Trapper.
Now that's the only problem that I see with Ron Artest handling the ball much too often. The last possession they had, they ran a nice play, had the board covered. This time they went back to the one-on-one situation with 4 guys standing around. Not only was the turnover there, but really didn't have the board covered well. Poor decision-making by Ron Artest this early in the game. Stick with the system. It's early in the game.
5 turnovers for the Red Storm in the first 6.5 minutes. Connecticut jumped out to a 13-0 lead. Now up 12. Bosco back in the game, fighting for position with Jesse underneath. 3 seconds. The fight took too long. Tomorrow, ABC Sports break up the basketball for you a little. Jeff Gordon and the Rainbow Warriors. Another jackpot opportunity. Las Vegas 400, 2:30 on ABC. Bobby Labonte won the poll in qualifying, which you saw yesterday on the Deuce.
UConn continuing the full court pressure. This is token pressure right now, but again, designed. Well, if you're going to leave the ball out there, UConn's going to take advantage of it. Eric Barkley's got to recognize that was token pressure. Just protect the ball, and you really wouldn't have anybody going after you.
Automatic bid on the line on the Deuce from the MEAC. See if FAMU or South Carolina State will join the party of 64. Chris, Dick Digger, and Jay Billis. Jay will be in Kansas City for the selection special tomorrow. Billis is earning the Bill Raftery Award. Jay did 2 games today. He'll be in KC tomorrow. That's offensive on UConn. El Amin trying to make some space. They've been Bosco with the illegal screen. It was Jake his second. Well, as Ricky Moore comes back in, we talk about his defensive prowess, but because El Amin is that lead guard at times, Ricky sometimes has to quickly adapt to the point guard role.
And by adapting, he settles his team down and is able to distribute the ball where El Amin is more focused on shooting.
When El Amin was recruited by Jim Calhoun, he only asked one question during the home visit. Am I coming in to be the backup to Ricky Moore? Calhoun's played them together, and it's worked. Moore, St. John's half-court struggle. That's 7 turnovers. Ricky a 3. Shot it well last night. Picks up tonight.
That wasn't nearly as quick as the lightning breaks we had seen before, but certainly in an advantage break situation, good ball movement by UConn.
Edmund Saunders, the athletic 6'8" player from Waterbury, Connecticut, forced it out of bounds.
And here's an interesting way to play defense. Watch Khalid El Amin trying to blindfold Ron Artest. You know, guess who? Peekaboo.
Peekaboo, you don't see your teammate, you turn it over. Albert Richardson, 55, is the junior. Back to you. Ready to enter the paint and battle for position with Suleiman Wan. 10 to shoot for post step. Saunders got right in his mug and sent it back.
And St. John's reverting back to the problems they had earlier offensively. Force shots, quick shots. Ball movement is what's going to get them better look.
Roshmel Jones in the game for the Huskies. Essentially 3 guards with Saunders and Wan. An odd 5 for Calhoun, but El Amin can score no matter who's with him. Suleiman Wan! What is going on this week, Suleiman?
Well, he's picking up where he left off yesterday. Yesterday, after 2 quick fouls, had a chance to sit on the bench, gain some perspective on this game, get himself involved mentally, and he hasn't forgotten from yesterday.
Barkley got him in the air, made a nice inside dish. 2 Thornton.
Much more like it if you're Mike Jarvis. Again, your point guard creating, but more than anything else, good ball movement, good attack.
Ricky lost it on the handle. Barkley tries to beat him back. Nice dribble behind the back to cause the contact. A rare turnover for Ricky Moore, who's second in the conference in his assisted turnover ratio.
Eric Barkley, again, we talk about the quintessential point guard. You gain possession. The first thing you do is attack the defense, try to exploit an advantage. And here he pushed it, kept the defense on their heels, and forced an opportunity for himself to the free throw line. He's got to continue to look to do that, but also exercise the judgment that if he doesn't have numbers, pull it back out and allow his team to run something.
In the game against Duke here at the Garden, Barkley had the ultimate Madison Square Garden honor. Spike Lee sat courtside and wore his jersey. One more for Barkley.
Guess next Barkley will be looking for a movie role.
Barkley has 6 of the Red Storm 10. We have timeout. In the last 13 UConn games of the season, Suleiman Wad scored 7. He has 8 in the last 2 nights.
If this is you, communication.
Some teams would sign for right now. But 5 of the last 6 years, they've won the conference, been a 1 seed in the conference tournament, all because of that man. His dozen years in stores. If they win here tonight and get to the Sweet 16, he'll have 300 wins at UConn and build on that because of players like Hamilton and Ray Allen and Donyell Marshall. But it started in 89-90, the dream season. Players like Tate George, Lyman DeFries, hard-working players, Scotty Burrell.
Well, it's because of that dynasty that Jim Calhoun is scratching his head this year. I mean, they're 27-2, and for the last couple of weeks, everyone's wondering, well, what's up with UConn? 27-2 is a pretty nice neighborhood to live in.
Hamilton lost Artest because of the work up top by the teammates, and Richard has hit 4 of his 5 field goals tonight. See if Artest can get involved offensively. He has 3 rebounds, a couple of them on the offensive end, but the St. John star is 1 of 5 in the first half of the first half.
Much better St. John's offense. You're not going to get it back all at once, but you've got to establish something.
Postel established position on Ricky Moore. 5 to shoot. Barkley. Hamilton used the derriere to make some space.
Good fundamentals on the block out.
El Amin, Barkley in his face quickly. Hamilton. El Amin went for the steal. Barkley with nobody to stop the ball. Except for Saunders, the last line of defense.
And see, that's the judgment we're talking about. Poor judgment by Barkley on that one.
Saunders was in between. Couldn't just ram it home. Couldn't catch and finish.
It all began well for Eric Barkley in exploring the defense, but once he recognized they didn't have numbers, you got to turn around and come back. Start again.
Barkley handles out high. The lone true guard on the floor right now. Postel will be the other guard, and he, like Artest, so versatile. Ron didn't get a good shot. Freeman's doing a nice job defensively on him.
Artest tried to bully Richard Hamilton, and in doing so, knocked himself off balance.
El Amin on the switch. He ended up with a slower, taller Albert Richardson. Collins' eyes lit up. Put up 2 more on the scoreboard, and it's 27-10. Barkley doing a nice job, Len, because he's the only St. John's player really contributing in the scoring column. 8 of 12.
Well, he's trying to create something off the dribble, which is what they need. You take a look at Khalid El Amin on the previous possession. Nice little head fake, little hesitation, and Richardson no match for him on that first step. And you see the nice reverse layup. Richardson should have been calling for some help. St. John should have recognized the mismatch and kind of collapsed in the paint.
UConn ball out of the out-of-bounds situation. Ross Jones on the floor. The Huskies are smaller now. Kevin Freeman gives them their most size, 6'7".
But they match up nicely with the St. John's personnel out on the floor. Quick guys, all interchangeable. UConn has got the same now.
Good defensive help from up top by the tall guard Thornton. Made Freeman's shot tougher. St. John's took a heavyweight slugger punch in the mouth to start. 13-0. UConn came out with the first round knockdown. Jones a foul for a hold. Since then, it's been virtually even.
Well, to continue that analogy, they got up. And now the cobwebs seem to be clearing right now.
4 of 16. That would be a lot of misses on the punch tap. There's a heavyweight title fight in here a week from tonight. And 1 here this season. Postel doubled on the baseline. Whistle before the shot. Jones and Freeman were doubling, got too physical.
Well, against the zone, St. John seems to want to just move the ball around the perimeter and watch the guys flashing in the post. You see Postel right along the baseline. There's the double team. He makes a strong move. And that's really the key to success once you get the ball inside against the zone. Quick move, strong move.
Thornton, a 3. Bootsy has 5. Well, the guards are getting it done from a scoring standpoint, all but 2 of the St. John's points. Now the big fellas need to carry their bit of the load. Hamilton, a responsive 3, and Richard already in double digits. He has 11. Second leading scorer in the Big East at 21 per game. Jamil Thomas of Providence, another first-team performer, was the leading scorer in the Big East. Official timeout inside of 8 minutes. Richard Hamilton already halfway to his average. Mike Jarvis, no answers from his big men. Behind the junior from Coatesville, Pennsylvania. The Huskies, the top seed, doubling up the Red Storm.
I'm Earl of Pearl Monroe. Let's talk basketball.
To keep their bodies between the St. John's offensive rebounders and the glass. And Suleiman Wan doing yeoman's work down there.
Bosco with the 2 fouls, so maybe a little bit more of Suleiman Wan. E.J. Harrison handling. Now El Amin on the floor. Ricky Moore not running the point. Harrison has it this trip and took a 4 shot. Some of the slight differences when Ricky or Khaled are not handling out high. Horton, a good rebounding guard, plays a lot along the baseline. St. John's still cold. 5 of 19 from the field. Moore thought about the open jumper, but saw wide. Milan gets back under the goal, and St. John's can't do anything. And they like to break. We talked about UConn and their ability to break. As you said earlier, St. John's would gladly run with anyone, but they're not able to tonight.
Well, they can't right now because I'm going to tell you this. Eric Barkley is winded. On that last break, he was the last guy down the floor, trailing the play, kind of bent over a little bit. He's been doing a pretty good job on offense, but right now he's pretty tired.
Postel, Hamilton got a piece. Out of bounds off St. John's. Well, Artest is going to come back in this game and need to find the form. Just 1 of 6. For one of the top field goal percentage shooters in the conference, 46%.
And just as we said, Eric Barkley winded sitting on the bench. Chudney Gray comes in to take his spot as point guard.
Now, don't lose the fact on that defensive trip that Richard Hamilton did a nice job with a block there. Hamilton has 2 blocks in this Big East tournament. He has 4 for the season. El Amin from the free throw line. Melo Cole off the bench.
El Amin recognized the substitution and took advantage right away. Cole, Chudney Gray off the bench. El Amin took him off the dribble.
El Amin and Hamilton, 21 of the Husky 32. The best, playing the best on championship night. That is a 2 for Bucci Thornton. Had a sneaker on the line. Colleague all the way. Weak side Freeman, then one. Suleiman is 1 away from a career high.
Well, you got a mirror image right now. UConn, not known to be the great offensive rebounding team, commanding their offensive glass.
There's Artest working inside, but the shot was changed by Wan. And so was Richardson. And the steal by Hamilton forces the foul on Richardson. The Huskies in the half court, both ends.
Coming into this game, you thought it was St. John's that would have their way on the offensive glass, but no. UConn covering it well. Kevin Freeman keeping it alive, and Wan making the finish.
See the opportunities of offensive rebounds. It's worked a little bit for St. John's, but even more for Connecticut.
Well, they've been shooting so well, but when they need it, Connecticut's been able to keep balls alive off of that board.
Hamilton and Artest matched up. Freeman on Jesse. Amin watched by Thornton. NBA triple. Rebound for Donald Emanuel, 6'8" freshman out of Houston, Texas. Seeing his first action in the last couple of nights. Chudney Gray also in at the point. Maybe 3 games in 3 days came to the Red Storm a little bit. Thornton was out of control but got fouled. Well, a chance to remind you what comes up tomorrow. Who's in, who's not. Start with the exclusive announcement of the ladies' field of 64, presented by State Farm. Robin Roberts and company at 5:15. Then right after Sports Center, Chris Fowler to Clyde Town. Digger Phelps, Jay Billis in Kansas City for the men's tournament selection special. 90 minutes, break down all the brackets, and then over to the deuce for Dave Feldman and Quinn Buckner in college hoops tonight. Just tune on over. It's 5:15. We'll break it all down for you. The El Amin foul was his second. Thornton will get one more free throw. Barkley sits. Grant sits dejectedly with the arm up, and Jarvis looks for an answer.
Well, the El Amin situation is something Jim Calhoun has to keep an eye on. Right now, it's a mismatch situation with Thornton on El Amin.
Timeout. Be right back. Offensive foul, Hamilton. John Cal made the call on the clear out on Rip. That's his first.
It's another stop by St. John's. The question is whether or not they have the poise to come back down and continue to play in that controlled sense, to find open men, to exploit mismatches.
Gray and Emmanuel on the floor for St. John. Artest, reaction immediate. The short passes aren't working tonight. Ricky Moore got fouled by Barkley. Barkley's first. Wondering what's going on. It's not supposed to happen this way. This is the building we play in all year.
Again, they continue to be a little too rushed on the offensive end. Artest has got to realize he can't do it by himself. He can't make the final play. It's going to be about ball movement.
Hamilton off the screen through Saunders. Gray did a nice job working around it. Well, I mean, the point guard calls a set play. Edmund Saunders on Donald Emmanuel. Last touch UConn. St. John's ball. Kevin Freeman, who's been a great offensive source with 22 and 21 in the first two games, leading in the rebound category like he normally does. And Hamilton, the leading scorer for the team, is back to his normal role.
And you can say Khalid El Amin back to his role as a distributor. It makes him so dangerous.
Sure. Gray, the junior out of the Bronx. Runs to the left corner. He's hit a three from the right side. But it's the handle out high for Barkley. Knocked down. That's why he had to call the foul. Jim Byrne. The Red Storm guards have been doing it for them tonight. Barkley and Thornton have combined for 17 of the Red Storm 22 points.
Well, here's a prime opportunity for St. John's to get back into this ball game, to stay aggressive and stay under control on the offensive end. Try to draw fouls, try to get good looks. They'll be at the line if, in fact, they can draw some fouls.
Only 4 team fouls on Mike Jarvis's team, so foul trouble won't be a problem. Important with Tyrone Grant's hand hampering him enough that I doubt you're going to see him the rest of the night. We talked about that magic 10 number, and there it is. 9 in a row for the Red Storm. Wearing the road red on their home floor because they are the 3 seed. UConn's the 1 seed. Both teams in the top 10, 7th time in the 20 championship games. The 2 top 10 teams are going head-to-head for the trophy.
Say the major reason for St. John's getting back into this ball game, at least at a 10-point deficit mark, is their ability to control this tempo to get back into a half-court type of situation. They've been able to minimize their turnovers to the extent that UConn hasn't been able to get as many fast breaks as they had in the first 5 minutes of this game. And on the other end, they played much more controlled and deliberate offensively.
No big deal. Chudney Gray's first foul, team's 5th. Just an inbounds, but a fresh shot clock for the Huskies. Ross Jones used the advantage. Got his own miss, so thus the travel. Well, St. John's with a good half-court set could get it into single digits here, and the very knowledgeable New York basketball crowd will raise the decibels here in the Garden as the Red Storm bring it across midcourt.
What did you turn on a switch or something?
A lot of games in this building. And there's no better place. What makes this conference championship so good. Outside of 3 for Thornton.
That's what it's about. Penetrate, draw, and dish.
Holding foul, 16 foul, no free throws. 12-0 run. Just like the first game. Run.
Well, here after the penetration by Chudney Gray, Lucy Thornton spots up for the jumper, and you give Gray a lot of credit for getting the dribble penetration out of the half-court set to draw the defenders into the lane, and then he found the open shooter on the perimeter.
That's a great graphic you saw there, because Artest, Grant, Jesse, and Postel give his team 44 points a game. But how about Hamilton? It's getting close. A response from Rick with a triple. He has 14 in the first half.
That's why he's the money player for UConn. Anytime they need to stem momentum, you got to go to Rip Hamilton.
What a half. How about Ron Artest? Kevin Freeman's locking him down. 1 second difference, game and shot clock before the half. 7 halftime report coming up with Chris and Digger. Artest bodies Freeman. Saunders came over for help. Artest still hit the goal. Oh, they should have stopped the clock, and John Cal does. It's a good job by John Cal. And Calhoun has a 20 that he can't take into the second half, and he's going to use. It was not Connecticut's fault that the ball was getting away. Well, tomorrow, separated by 7 miles of Tobacco Road, Duke in North Carolina, yet again for the ACC Championship game on Championship Week presented by 7-Up. ACC Championship of 25 years ago has been talked about very often. Do you remember the grainy film to see Lenny Elmore?
All right, where'd you guys get this?
Oh, man. Okay, freeze it. Let me tell it straight. No, look at Lenny working hard. 103-100. So many interviews about this game where David Thompson at NC State did such a great job. What in going back and reliving this over and over has come up most often?
Well, the thing that really people have asked is whether or not NC State was the best team and whether or not, obviously, we were heartbroken.
El Amin with a heartbreaking triple to end the half. Oh! The Huskies' great first half momentum of 13-0 was threatening to be thwarted, but College.
Well, it's all about the quick inbound pass and pushing it up the floor. Khalid El Amin, a nice job of getting spotted up. About 3 feet behind the pro three-point line. He gave it everything he had to the point where it threw him 3 feet beyond the shot.
El Amin and Hamilton, 27 of the Husky 40. From behind the arc and above the rim, it's an exclamation point triple to send us to halftime with UConn leading by 11. We send you back to Championship Week headquarters. Chris Fowler, Digger Phelps.
Mike, thank you. Regular season meeting. Connecticut had to make up a 12-point deficit.
Has won it for Rhode Island.
21-10 for Odom. Rhode Island, the champ.
And $250,000 if he has the guts to shoot from half court. So, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, 25 seconds. We're counting on you, Adam. They cheered you in the beginning. They love a winner here in the Garden, Adam.
I'm nothing to say.
Well, I would say we would take a look at the instant replay of the shot that you made, but we don't have any to show. We do have some nice parting gifts for you, though, Adam. This is Mike McGrath. He is the COO of Cadbury 7-Up. And Mike, you're not going to leave him empty-handed, are you?
Hey, Adam, that was pretty unlucky, buddy. But on behalf of the 7-Up company and all of our 7-Up bottler partners, since you're a pretty good sport, we're going to give you a check for $10,000. Thanks a lot, Adam.
Mike, thank you. Adam, $10,000 richer and the object of the IRS. Good luck. Mike, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. Adam 0 for 11, but he leaves with 10 grand. Not bad. Huskies by 11. Second half coming up. Half was a pretty important segment of the game, don't you think?
And the way they did it was to play a half-court set, to run their options, and to attack. If they can do that, get UConn in a half-court game, they've got a great opportunity to get back into this ballgame.
Biggest Husky lead was 17. Red Storm got it as close as 8 late. El Amin hit the dagger triple to end the half. Barkley and Thornton have gotten the job done. The backcourt for St. John's. Barkley's 12, Thornton's 14. Reggie Jesse on the floor. LeVar Postel starts the second half. Tyrone Grant's hand injury is too painful. The double from Bosco. Artest was 2 of 7.
The one thing St. John's wants to be able to do is to prevent UConn from going off from an extended run to begin this half, and they're able to do that by playing deliberately on offense.
Hamilton's second foul to go with his 14 points. He leads all scorers. You see Thornton and Barkley 22 of the Red Storm 29. Artest 4, Chudney Gray 3, and that's it. The Husky zone on the out of bounds as the first shot clock is St. John's time to explore. Down 11, they're not in horrible shape.
No, they're not, and as long as they can make this a 5-on-5 game in the half court, minimize their turnovers, they're going to get their opportunity.
Now 10 to shoot. Jesse's open. A 3. Not normally his shot, and the Huskies get it off the board and get going. Freeman down the lane.
Well, the other thing that St. John's has to do, if they miss the shot, they better find a way to prevent that first outlet pass from getting that far up the floor, because that's the key to the UConn attack. Quick outlet pass, and then off to the races.
15 on 15. Artest on Freeman. The Voskuhl double. Nice. Reggie Jesse better. Jake Voskuhl. Hamilton stutter step, loses some people. Jesse from behind. He was angry because he got his shot blocked.
Here's how UConn uses the outlet pass. Watch the quick pass just to half court. That first pass makes the play. The defense is not able to recover. If you can kick that ball far enough out on your first pass on a fast break, you've got an advantage.
First true half-court set for the Huskies with their starting 5 of Moore and El Amin and Voskuhl and Hamilton and Freeman. Kevin, the only points of this half. Nice look to Jake Voskuhl's first goal of the night. 8 points from the pivot. 6 for Suleiman, 1, 2 for Jake, and an assist for Rip.
And I tell you, Hamilton utilizing his stature on the floor as a scorer, drawing defenses, drawing their attention, and then making the play by hitting the open man.
Quick 20 for Mike Jarvis. Jake Voskuhl didn't play much in the first half, but active to start this second half.
Jake Voskuhl, after he makes the pass, doesn't stand still, gets to the spot. And as we see here, everyone points to Rip Hamilton when he gets the ball, and Voskuhl is the recipient. Hamilton, again, recognizing the defense as Jesse steps up. Voskuhl is Jesse's man. He stepped to penetration. Voskuhl found an opening.
Jake is very close back at home in Texas with his dad, Joe, who was a player at Tulsa in the early 70s and the 9th leading rebounder in Tulsa history, and his brother, Jared, who's his best buddy. Jared turned 18 yesterday. Jake is all excited to talk to his brother, wish him a happy birthday. Jake has the foot injury, as you undoubtedly have heard if you've watched any hoops the last few weeks. After the loss to Syracuse, or the win at Syracuse, where Voskuhl didn't play, back to Stores, late night Sunday mass, went to church, said a little prayer, and he said his foot has felt great since then. Ricky Moore, the defensive glove, comes up with a block. El Amin hit the dribble line. Hamilton beat Artest on the dribble.
Right now, UConn's making St. John's look like they're standing in mud. Can't really get their feet moving.
That 9-0 run started with the El Amin 3 to end the half. And the first 6 of this second half, Barkley tries to change it. Postell trying to keep it alive. El-Amin has no numbers.
And again, reverting back to the quick shot. St. John's, that's going to be their undoing.
It was Connecticut that had the big advantage at this point in their regular season meeting. It's turned out to be a 4-point Husky win, 78-74. One of the more entertaining games of the college hoop season. Offensive foul, El-Amin. That is 3 on the 2-time Minnesota State Player of the Year. El-Amin just looked all the way over at Jim Burr and said, "Come on, baby. You're going to come on over to the bench now, okay?" Jim Calhoun calls him.
You take a look at Eric Barkley. Every time there's a break in the action, he's bent over, grabbing his shorts. There's been a lot of pressure on him as the point guard. A tremendous D by Ricky Moore on the offensive end. Barkley has had to do an awful lot to try to get his team back into this ball game, and it's taken its toll.
You saw that Tyrone Grant shot. Hard to tell if it's the pain or the anguish of not being able to play. Ricky Moore didn't let Artest put it on the floor. Huskies run 3-on-2. Hamilton to Jones. Counted on a foul.
You just can't say it enough. Attack, attack, attack. That's what you see UConn doing. Every time there's a loose ball, they're not settling for jump shots. They continue to run, get to the rim, and they make good things happen. Here in the low angle, nice delivery by Hamilton on a racing Rushamel Jones down into the heart of the St. John's defense.
3 assists for Hamilton. Ross Jones, a senior, playing his last Big East game. He was a starter, but when Khalid El-Amin came, he became a bench player. Has not pouted. The guy has had to work hard for everything. His world was changed when his home in Mount Vernon, New York, had a fire right around Christmas in 1985. The family hung tough. His dad drives a truck. His mom's a hard-nosed lady, always driving him. One of the reasons Ross Jones has stayed on the floor and productive and hopes to end his senior Big East season with a championship tonight.
And it's also one of the reasons why he'll be productive in real life going forward, because we're talking about character here.
Hamilton the push. Oh, he's leading the break well. Freeman not fouled by Artest. It is Connecticut with the hop in their step. It's the UConn Huskies that look like the first team. Both halves here tonight. Certainly no drop in intensity out of the locker room.
Well, certainly your energy gets expended when you're doing the chasing instead of being chased. And right now, UConn's the one being chased.
A couple for Kevin Freeman, a kid who would have gone to UConn's rival across the state border, UMass, if John Calipari, the then coach, would have been able to make the phone call 15 minutes earlier. Calipari did the A-10 battles with Mike Jarvis.
I guess there's some speed dialing going on in UMass from now on.
Mike Babel was the man who took his spot at UMass, and Freeman from Springfield, Massachusetts, went to the Huskies, and he's built himself a great Big East tournament. It is the Husky defense, their trademark, led by Ricky Moore, leading to the finishes by Hamilton, and the Huskies lead 22.
Postell scoring the paint. They tried to do it by playing deliberately on offense, but that only lasted 1 or 2 possessions. Then they reverted back to the quick shot.
Suleiman Juan, another assist from the big man. Vosco earlier, this time Juan with the pass. Freeman got the goal, but the big men get the high five.
You know, Mike, that goes back to the experience factor. Yesterday, after a big win over Miami, you could see how giddy the St. John's players were to get here. But it's not enough just to get here in the championship. You've got to maintain that emotional peak if you're going to step over the line and win it.
Quick reminder of what follows us, the WAC Championship. Championship week Saturday started at the Bob Carpenter Center with the Drexel Delaware game, and Bob Carpenter will call the New Mexico-Utah game, and then the Big West title game, New Mexico State, Boise State for the automatic bid. For more on Championship week, by the way, you can log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network at go.com. Christian Digger told you at the half, no Kenny Thomas for New Mexico in that WAC finale. Postell scored the last 5. The lead is 19. Suleiman on the bench. He picked up the foul.
St. John's in the zone right now. trying to conserve some energy, knowing that they've got to make a big push very shortly.
Jones got close. UConn does a very nice job with the ball fake and the drive. You know, it's a fundamental, but you watch them work on it so often. They do a very nice job with it. They do a lot of little good things. That's why they've done a lot of great things.
And fundamentally sound as a team is what's going to get you to championship level.
Hamilton out of the middle. Pitches it to Moore. He finds Hamilton, who is shooting quick tonight. It counts to Jones, who could not finish. They battle for it. Jones stepped on the line.
Well, we mentioned St. John's in the last UConn possession went back into a zone. Obviously, when you're down this much, a zone is not going to get it. The purpose is to give them a rest, but they've got to come out of the zone much more aggressive in the man-to-man, which I'm sure Mike Jarvis is about to unleash. This is the time for them to start making a move, and it's got to begin with a stop and then good shots on the offensive end.
Costell's three was online, but just a little bit short.
St. John's back into that man-to-man.
Dudley Gray in defensively. He's got the assignment of trying to slow down Hamilton, who's 7 of 10 from the field. Freeman spins on Artest. Fighting for the board, it's Ross Jones. Off St. John's, UConn ball.
And you know, the guards are so important in the offensive rebounding scheme because the big people on the front line are battling. There's a lot of hand play in there. And really, many times the ball is coming off pretty much open for a guard who's going to peel back to pick off.
Jones went down awkwardly and looks to be okay. Hamilton, Moore, Jones, those three can handle. Edmund Saunders creating space for Ricky and rolling to the goal. He couldn't finish it off. Mike Jarvis is a teacher. He has a master's in education from Northeastern. While at Northeastern, he was the freshman coach and coached for a year under Jim Calhoun when Jim was there as well. And it was kind of funny. I talked to them as they were sitting talking before the game, and Jarvis said his salary was something like $900. And Calhoun said he got paid more than that. Well, as our conversation went on for a minute or two, the salary went up to $1,500 a year. Jones on the steal and the finish. And the Huskies are pulling away. Suddenly Gray crashing the glass. Tried to keep the dribble alive, but he did travel, and it is frustration, aggravation for St. John's.
Well, the look on the faces of the St. John's players is a result of plays like this by Ross Jones. No matter what they try to do, UConn's been able to thwart them. And you can see the wide-eyed element in the faces of the St. John's players. They just cannot believe that they're behind this much and they've played this poorly.
Somebody lost Hamilton. Dunked down Saunders. Blocked by Artest for a foul. When we talk about UConn's defense, overall it's bothersome. But look at the specifics of it. Why would 15 deflections be something that is so disruptive to an offense?
Well, first of all, it's a barometer of activity, and when you start deflecting the ball handlers start to look around. They start to hesitate on their passes, and the hesitation plays into the defense's hands. And so St. John's, many times, they're pulling the string on it, thinking that someone's going to step into the breach, and it allows them to step into the passing lane and make the steal.
Elamine comes back in for the Huskies. Ricky Moore takes a seat. Edmund Saunders is at the line. Edmund Saunders couldn't play last year because of academics. Was a very emotional but extremely likable kid. Has put that positive energy into his studies, done well in that end, and is trying to learn how to channel the emotion and improve as a basketball player. And depending on who stays and who doesn't next year, Saunders' role will increase. He's got the ability and the body to do so. Chudney Gray with Barkley and Bootsy Thornton, essentially three guards for St. John's here at the 12-minute mark. Down 24. Nice cut by Barkley inside.
And a good find by Artest. And every once in a while, St. John's plays methodically. They take care of the ball, and they're able to find some people. The question is, can they make stops on the defensive end?
Second assist of the night for Artest, who averages 4.5 per. Puts up numbers in all columns. Hamilton's had a great passing night. Another assist for Rick. And Barkley is shaken up and hobbling on his knee. Official timeout. The Huskies, Big East team of the 90s, #1 seed, making their pace, making their run.
If this isn't...
Hamilton ran to the line. Saunders filled the lane and got the rebound. UConn's winning the battle of the boards as well.
This game that UConn had to do, and that was minimize St. John's offensive rebounding and their rebounding in total.
Eric Barkley bumped his knee before the last official timeout, had some ice on it, and is now at the scorer's table ready to come in. Postel challenged by Saunders. That's why I'm telling you this guy's going to be good next year. Saunders runs the floor on the right. Hamilton finds him. Nice pass, Freeman. Better pass, El Amin. Everything but the goal. Suddenly Gray back on this end. Out of sync.
That's an understatement right now. I think St. John's is so shell-shocked that in some respects they're not sure what they're doing out here.
They are 3 of 14 shooting in the second half. The UConn passing has been great, and Freeman will come to the line.
You know, they've got some fresh legs out there. Eric Barkley is coming back in the game, but defensively, the problem is, once again, mental. They've been so shell-shocked, they haven't been communicating. They're kind of confused out there. UConn is running just a simple series of picks, but executing very well fundamentally and opening to the ball, setting good screens, and providing options for the passer.
See Richard Hamilton clapping in the background as the UConn fans start a chant here in the Garden. Freeman at the line. You know about Kevin's great first 2 games, adding to his total this evening. You know, El Amin has the natural talent, but Freeman is a worker. He says when he gets outworked by a player, he can't sleep at night. Steve Lapis made a very good point about Freeman. He scores and he averages about 12.5 a game without bouncing the ball very much. So many of his points are inside, putbacks, good catches, smart decisions. When needed, he answered the call when the other Husky stars weren't there. That against Seton Hall. Artest fouled on the outside. He can score it for Ron.
It's one of the few times Ron Artest has been able to put the ball on the floor and get all the way into the lane. The UConn defense has done a nice job of stopping him early. Artest moving without the ball on the pick. He opens to the ball as well. And here off the dribble, Kevin Freeman doesn't get the help. Saunders there just a little too late.
Ron making the free throw. Now 7 for the first team All Big East performer, who's a sophomore from the Long Island City area. Thornton went for the steal on Saunders. Halfway through second half, Connecticut leads by 22. The Huskies looking for their 3rd Big East championship in 4 years. They won it in '96. They won it last year. 3 in 4 years, only Georgetown's done that. Hoyas did that a couple of times in the 80s. 5 to shoot. It'll be El Amin. Shot not on as it was earlier. Donald Emanuel, smart, unselfish freshman, seeing some minutes. Thornton spinning inside. That's going to be a tough matchup, whoever plays St. John's in the NCAAs. 6'4" guard like Thornton, who works the baseline so well. Good decision by Ricky Moore. Ricky's dad is a caddy on the PGA Tour, and Buck Moore is on Andy Bean's bag this week, and Andy Bean is in 4th place at the Doral Ryder Open. So it could be a great weekend for the Moore family. Barkley twisted. A low field goal percentage for the Red Storm tonight. 14 of 41 from the field.
And a lot of that is the defense of UConn, but also poor decision-making on the shots, particularly when they got down by a lot. A lot of quick shots, a lot of shots without covering the board and not allowing St. John's to hit the offensive glass in the manner in which they've been accustomed.
Jones the ball fake. St. John's stood in its place. Moore finds Jones. The two seniors playing their final conference game. A lot of smiles for the team in the white shirts tonight. They are enjoying it.
When Friedman was at the line, the students from UConn were chanting MVP of the tournament for Kevin, and El Amin looked over our way and towards the rest of the media and said, "You got to vote for him."
Career in politics, huh? Going back to Minnesota. Hey, they elected a wrestler governor too.
El Amin, the mistake. You could see Calhoun frustrated on the sideline. Artest almost missed it.
20-point game at the 7.5 mark.
You see, Ron Artest could barely get off the floor on that particular play. This chasing defense forces St. John's to expend a lot of energy. That's why they're in the zone, hoping to minimize the amount of running that they have to do to get UConn to take a shot.
Amin missed the last few threes. About 3 this half that he's missed. Johnny's going to put Barkley Thornton. It is Barkley. Got it back. Merrick Barkley's had an outstanding game here tonight. He leads St. John's with 14 points, and Calhoun's going to take a 22nd timeout. Just a second to remind you about Championship Week's continuation on the Deuce later tonight. See, we're about an hour away from seeing Northern Arizona Weber State. If you're a Big East fan, Ben Howland, the coach of Northern Arizona, has been widely reported as the next pit coach. Chance to see him try to get the auto bid against Weber State. Jim Calhoun and UConn are on their way to the automatic bid out of the Big East. Jim Calhoun, a very intense guy, a hard worker, was a good basketball player. Maybe couldn't reach his basketball potential as a player, in part because he was working all the time. Out of an Irish Catholic working class background, he had to work by day and go to school by night after his father passed away at 15. He had to grind and work for everything. Went to Northeastern, had great success there. The winningest coach in Northeastern history. He's recruited players like Hamilton to UConn and helped Ricky Moore develop. And Pat Calhoun, Jim's wife, has been along the whole way and watched a hard-working guy get that personality onto his basketball team as well. And Jim Calhoun is the winningest coach in Connecticut history, pushing 300 wins. You see him on the sidelines, you see him angry and getting in guys' faces and intense. But he loves basketball. He's a basketball junkie and really has given his personality to this team of working hard and overachieving. Moore and Bosco and Freeman and the guys in the earlier generation come to mind. If you knew UConn basketball 10 years ago and said they'd be a #1 seed down the line and the winners in the Big East 5 out of the last 6 years in the regular season and attract players like Richard Hamilton, you would have laughed. This program was so poor in relative terms to the best in the nation, and here they are in Little Stores, Connecticut, one of the best teams anywhere.
Well, you said it, Jim Calhoun has put his imprint on this team and their approach to the game, which is a strong work ethic. And again, when you see a coach with a background of a Jim Calhoun and understand what he's all about, when he gets in players' faces, you know that he cares, you know he's trying to impart an intensity that really tells them that you've got to earn everything you get. And in order to earn it, you've got to work and prepare. He's a living example.
Barkley at the free throw line. He'll have one more. There's one of those workers who Calhoun calls a warrior. And Bosco as well. Just like Travis Knight, a 4-year growth project in the middle. The guys who are going to go on to the next level and play. Jim Calhoun's team is going on to the NCAAs as a #1 seed. They're working on another Big East title.
Pains in the back, neck, arm, or leg can come from many causes and are often accident-related. If you are suffering from pain, especially from a no-fault auto accident or workman's comp injury, you can find drug-free relief from the professionals at Kings Highway Chiropractic, often with no cost to you. Kings Highway Chiropractic specializes in the evaluation and treatment of these and other structural conditions and can put you on the road to recovery before you know it.
If you're not right, your game can't be right. Kings Highway Chiropractic, a crack above the rest.
Long Island's hometown team is back.
Right. At least succumb, and they did it with 3-point shots.
Artest a little energized out of the timeout. Hits a 3. Runs in double figures now with 12.
So it's about turnovers and spotting up, getting open looks. And St. John's, again, looking to create those turnovers with some pressure.
Because of UConn's ability to handle at many positions, they're hard to turn over with the press, aren't they?
They are, and they have good floor spacing, too, so it's very difficult to double team them without leaving someone wide open.
Vosco has a size advantage. Found Freeman. 5 to shoot. Little BJ.
He's not called upon often, but in situations like that, a good eye for the clock, good footwork to get himself open.
Elamine, quick hands, too quick, foul. His fourth.
Well, we take a look at Jake Voskuhl in the paint, right there in the blue, calling for it. He knows the shot clock's running down. Good footwork on the crossover.
That foot injury looked okay throughout these 3 back-to-back-to-back games. We didn't even know if he was going to play the Seton Hall game on Thursday afternoon. But has played, has looked good, has not been tentative.
An economy of movement. He crossed over with the ball, not having to put it on the floor, kept it high. And they certainly will need his offensive presence, just the presence, when they go forward in the tournament. He doesn't have to score, but he has to be there, and teams have to pay attention to him.
Postel makes it a 16-point game. That's off St. John's. As they try to press on the sideline. With a few confident minutes out of Suleiman Wan, also going to help Connecticut's cause in the middle if Voskuhl's foot bothers him. Jake has had a stress fracture in his foot back in high school. It was re-aggravated, not refractured. Went down to Houston on February 2nd to get it checked out, and they've had to alter his practice schedule a little bit. Timing slightly off from normal, but he's feeling pretty good. Electrostimulus has been a big reason that Voskuhl's foot has come back.
So you take a look at the way UConn's been running their offense. Don't be fooled. This is not a slowdown trying to milk time off the clock. They recognize the situation. They want to continue to attack, but they also recognize that if they continue to move the ball, they're going to get some people open, get a good shot, or get to the free throw line, and that should push out this lead.
Holding foul on Donald Emanuel. Jarvis trying to find the formula. 2 or 3 seed. That'll be the St. John's question when the bids come out. They've played so many good teams in their non-conference schedule that will certainly improve them. The question, and a lot of people here have mixed opinions on it. Should Miami or St. John's be the 2 seed if there is a 2 seed out of the group? And most think there is. Miami was 2-1 against St. John's this year, including a win on the Garden floor in the regular season. The Johnnies responded with a 3-point victory over the Canes last night to get to the championship game.
And why not an argument for both being 2 seeds?
Sloppy possession, but it milked the shot clock and milked the game clock inside of 3.5. Johnny's run down 16. Really? It came to Bucci Thornton, who got fouled.
And that's why Jim Calhoun does not want to slow it down. He wants to continue to attack. If his team gets bogged down in slowing the ball down, they lose their edge, their aggressiveness.
We talked about those close games and the good non-conference schedule. The preseason NIT here in Madison Square Garden saw a few of those St. John's losses. Their record of 24-8, if they lose here, is going to be helped by the games they played. Out of conference and here at the Garden. But their cause would have been helped more if they could have won a few more games on this home floor. Lost to Stanford and then 11th ranked Purdue. The game against Duke was wonderful. Bucci Thornton scored 40 in that one. The game against UConn we've talked about. And then the Miami game that Lenny and I called a month ago, 73-70. But close losses here at MSG.
Well, combined with their record and a couple of terrific wins, including the Miami win yesterday, I think you can make an argument for them being a 2 seed.
We shall see. We'll see you after this.
Sorry. Not enough. No, still short.
For the great taste that will fill you up and never let you down.
Paper or plastic? Paper.
Make it a Bud Light.
Guys, need a receipt?
Huh? here in beautiful downtown Miami to find out what people think about new Pert Plus. I'm going to wash your hair right now if you'd like.
No.
Oh, come on. No. Yeah.
Can you shampoo my hair right here?
Ironically enough, yeah. But this stuff, since they redid it, it's been revolutionarily redesigned and has water-based conditioning. So any excess conditioner washes away. So your hair's going to feel clean.
Feels great. Feels great.
Yeah,
Feels great. It's light. It's so soft. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's Pert Plus with clean conditioning. If we can wash your hair, we can change your mind. Excuse me. Excuse me.
This is the first time in 13 years St. John's is playing in the Big East Championship game. Remember, 1986, Ron Rowan hit the shot for Luke Artest's team, put him up. Pearl Washington of Syracuse drives, but Walter Berry blocks it, and St. John's wins. You can hear Mike Gorman with the call from back in 86, if you remember Big East hoops, and Louis did a little jig at midcourt as St. John's won the Big East Championship, and there is Luke Artest, who in the last couple of years has not been as visible, trying not to put the pressure on Brian Mahoney and Francis Chilla, but was very instrumental in getting Mike Jarvis here to New York. And Jarvis is the right guy at the right time for this program. El Amin got pushed and lost his wheel on the way. Here's your Bud Light storyline. St. John's, the second best shooting team in the conference from the field at 45%. Tonight shot under that. And look at the runs.
And those are the keys right there. 13-0 to start the first half. 11-0 to start the second half. That's been exactly what UConn wanted to do, and certainly something that St. John's could have never even fathomed. As we took a look at Ron Artest, and I think that at this point in time, it's a question whether or not St. John's has the effort or the will to try to get back into this ball game, at least make it competitive. I don't think so. You see a lot of guys dragging, a lot of guys bent over.
We wait for El Amin's blown tire to be repaired. Colin's got the NBA logo on his socks. I don't know if that's a message or just some comfortable socks. But as he tied his shoe, just saw that. Will Richard Hamilton go? Is this his last Big East game? No one's really for sure. Neither is Richard. I talked to him right before the shoot-around, about 2 hours before the game, the warm-ups actually. Hits another hoop inside. I said, is this the last time I get the pleasure of calling one of your Big East games? And he smiled and laughed and said, I'm not sure. I'm going to play it through the month, obviously, focus on trying to get to the Final Four. Artest, who would be an NBA top 10 pick. The sophomore with a dunk.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you look at the NBA draft, the projected draft, you mentioned it before, there are a number of guys, even in the Big East, that the scouts look to take before Richard Hamilton. He still would be a first-round pick. But I'd like to see him stick around one more year, refine his skill, certainly move up in the draft, which is going to happen by attrition alone with enough guys going out and him being a senior. But you want to go out there and you want to maximize your potential. And I think by staying a year, he refines his skill, he develops an even greater resume. And I think the money will wait.
And the point you made last night, it's not a knock on him that he's not, at this point in his life, the best NBA player that he can be. It's just maturity and reality. He turned 21 on Valentine's Day, and he will have his chance to star in this building as a visitor or, who knows, as a home player in the NBA. But maybe another year will help him physically fill out more.
And if some of the people that we have alluded to come out, it just pushes him up, even if he has the same type of year. But he's a guy who certainly can help an NBA team. He's certainly going to be a first-round pick. But when you come out, you want to be ready. And that bit of maturity that another year would give him could really push him up high.
If this is his last Big East game, he's going to leave the conference in great company. Only Chris Mullen and Patrick Ewing won multiple Conference Player of the Year awards. Mullen 3 times, Ewing twice. Hamilton shared it this year with Tim James, won it alone last year. Bosco's a nice defense. It's off St. John's. Husky ball. Well, as we told you tomorrow, North Carolina, Duke, the #1 team in the country. Len, how do you see their third match? They played a week ago tonight on the Deuce, and North Carolina lost at home by 20.
Well, it's going to be somewhat similar to this game. What Carolina has to do is to make sure that they avoid extended runs by Duke. Duke, much like UConn, loves to get out, loves to press you, create turnovers. They score in a hurry and in bunches. And if you can weather that storm, particularly sometime at the beginning of the game, towards the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, you can stay in the basketball game. As Carolina proved the last time the two teams met, they just could not avoid that final run in the second half that really pushed the game out of reach.
Mike Patrick and Dick Vitale will have that for you tomorrow. Then the selection special, and St. John's with the Tyrone Grant hand injury, unable to go but more a minute or two tonight. We'll be hoping he gets well soon and hope they play on a Friday-Sunday bracket, get him extra rest. Ricky Moore shoots 1-1, 5th in UConn's history in career assists. There was an NCAA suspension his sophomore year when he accepted an airline ticket from an agent. And that really personally hurt Ricky Moore, that he let down the people around him. Bosco takes a seat. That's the crowd reaction. Moore, who is the consummate team player, was so hard on himself, has come back the last 2 years and worked and played so hard that Jim Calhoun said in his 27 years of coaching, he's never had a player who's worked harder on the defensive end ever than Ricky Moore. Thornton with the hoop. Moore held Allen Iverson to 4 of 15 in the Big East Championship game 3 years ago. Mateen Cleaves he held to 2 of 15 this year. Montego Cummings of Pitt 2 of 18. And he makes the right decisions at the right time.
Well, I'll tell you, UConn, if they play like they played today in the NCAA tournament, it's going to be very difficult for teams who haven't experienced that type of onslaught, particularly in the fast break situation. You turn the ball over and blink your eyes, the ball hasn't hit the floor, and you got a Husky laying the ball up. You know, that's demoralizing for a lot of teams who aren't accustomed to seeing that. And I think right now, as they congratulate each other, you can say that they've operated on all cylinders tonight and given the NCAA tournament field kind of a preview of what they should expect from a #1 seed.
Speaking of the NCAA tournament field, let's look at the Big East and see how many teams they'll get in tomorrow. Certainly 5 with 5 20-win teams. Rutgers is the bubble team. Many people feel they've been off the bubble. And I heard some talk from the ACC tournament. The ACC folks saying, making the case for NC State and Wake Forest, 6 automatic losses playing Maryland, Duke, and North Carolina. Well, this is the only conference tournament with 3 of the top 10 teams in the country. So you have to say you have 6 automatic losses in this conference, plus playing Syracuse and Villanova, 20-win NCAA tournament teams. So you can't will away losses by saying, well, you got to play tough competition. Understanding that every conference tournament, you have the announcers and the conference folks making the case for the teams in front of them. The big picture is very hard to see sometimes. Keep this in mind. Auburn's best non-conference win is against Rutgers. That's what the Auburn folks tell you.
And quite honestly, I think that the RPI index, all that stuff, doesn't even get looked at until tomorrow. Essentially, it's going to come down to what have you done in the last 10 games, the quality of the teams that you've played, and are you going to be a threat if you're on the bubble? Are you going to be a threat if they allow you in the tournament?
Well, St. John's takes this time out, the Big East Trophy. The plaque will be ready for another Connecticut addition to it. And the Huskies will pass Syracuse and move into second place on the all-time list of Big East championships won in this 20th year of the conference. Huskies winning all theirs in the 90s, the Hoyas in the 80s. While we have a moment of thanks to Mike Tranghese, the Big East commissioner, and Tom McElroy and Tom O'Jackson, and John Paquette and Rob Carolla and all the people at the Big East who made our jobs a pleasure this year. And while we have internal 30 seconds of thank yous, Jay Rothman and Chip Dean, our producer and director, Mark Titleman, will keep all of us in line here this week as well. Tom Archer and John McDonough, who produced and directed the afternoon games. I speak on behalf of Dan Schulman and Phil Raftery, Metaman, as we say thank you to those guys.
Here, 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 here.
All the cameramen, the women and men on our team. The Big East Tournament Tip to Trophy coverage, 12 games over 4 days here in the Garden, which has helped add to a wonderful 2 decades of history. When we talk about outstanding efforts, this man has made it. Kevin Freeman voted the most outstanding player of the Big East Championship. And he will win the Dave Gavitt Trophy as voted by the media.
And he's talking to his campaign manager right there. Khaled El-Amin has been pretty much lobbying for most of the second half.
Khalid and Richard Hamilton will join him on the all-conference tournament team. Eric Barkley will be the St. John's representative. Tim James of Miami, who was great last night. And Atan Thomas of Syracuse, whose block shots and offense helped the Orange make the semifinals. Ricky Moore, who looks like a football player when he runs those down, caught one. And Lenny has a message for NFL scouts.
Oh, absolutely. Ricky Moore is your prototypical cornerback. I mean, this is a guy who's got quick feet, good anticipation, great reactions, and as we saw, some pretty good 40 speed.
Ron Artest is fifth. He'll leave. Will it be the last time he is seen in the Garden in a St. John's uniform?
Well, that's going to be an interesting call for Ron Artest because physically he is certainly mature enough to play that game. The problem is, once again, developing his skills as well. Another year or more certainly would allow him to reach his full potential.
Artest has family decisions to make as well, growing up in not the greatest area, right by the 59th Street Bridge if you're a New Yorker, the Queensboro Bridge. In the Long Island City area, the middle child of 7, lived in an area that has projects, attached homes, rundown industrial buildings. He's the middle of 7 kids, has a 2-year-old daughter. He's a hard worker. Has more hits per free throw. Ron Artest has that 19-year-old enthusiasm and sometimes immaturity, but has the basketball game of a senior like Tyrone Grant very, very often. And the NBA will certainly be appealed and appealing both ways in the relationship with Artest.
And what he possesses in physical skills, he just needs to refine. And I think once you get to the pro level, though, you don't have enough practice time to be able to continue to do that. He has a summer where he can build his game. But is that enough for him, as I said, to reach his full potential? He'll be a good player regardless of when he comes out. But the question is, if he stays longer, it might make him a great player in the long run.
Eric Barkley at the line who had a very nice night, 16 points, although his field goal shooting was 4 of 13. He had to be the shooter for St. John's tonight. He was 0 of 5 from behind the arc. I don't know if Calhoun's going to empty the bench or let the starters, except for Ross Jones, who's in for Jake Voskuhl, stay on the floor to enjoy the championship moment. In hopes of getting to the Final Four, Connecticut's been to 2 Elite Eights, losing to North Carolina in the state of, and UCLA in the state of California. The UCLA team that went on to the title. Will the Huskies go south if Auburn doesn't get a number 1? Or will they go west? I think Calhoun would like to go west. We shall see. They were in that west bracket when they played UCLA. They got to the regional final. Pretty good weekend for Jim Calhoun. Became a grandfather about 30 hours ago. Emily Calhoun, born to his son James, and James's wife Jennifer, former UConn basketball manager. They live out in the Oregon area. I'm sure they're watching. Congrats, guys. Jim had a funny line yesterday in the media. He said he called his son from his cell phone right after the game, and his son said, "Everybody's okay. Emily watched the game. She's 1-0, and she thinks she should have played Suleiman Wan more."
Well, like a dutiful grandparent, he listened.
Like a good Husky fan, that's what they all do. The Huskies moment on the Garden floor. Khalid and Rick and Ricky and Kevin all slowly take their steps off as Big East champs. Their fans are fervent. No one travels better in the conference than UConn. Amazing that St. John's, with all their New York City alums, the school being a few miles from here, this is their home floor, and there were more UConn fans in the building tonight.
Well, we were remarking about that before, and someone made a suggestion that maybe they got to the ticket window earlier.
We're talking about the Huskies Elite Eights, and our Mr. Perfect producer, Jay Rossman, reminds me, of course, how they got to the Elite Eight in the dream season of 90 against Duke. They beat Clemson on a buzzer beater, and Duke broke their heart in the Meadowlands. The walk-ons are going to come in, and Hamilton and El Amin will lead. team to be around. I think I've had 9 or 10 of their games this year, and the kids are nice kids. They truly are. Polite, pleasant, enjoy what they do, enjoy their status. Saunders with an up. Richard Moore, 35, and Ed Canella, 25. The walk-ons who deserve their moment in the sun. On the floor, there's Canella with a rebound. He'll be in Big East championship history. Foul him, let him get to the line. That'll be UConn ball here in the final 12 seconds. Rick will slap for Carl Hobbs, the 4th on the all-time assist total at UConn. He played for Mike Jarvis in high school. For the 8th time in 20 years, the #1 seed has won the Big East title. And for the 4th time in the 90s, the Huskies are the big dog of the Big East.
Mike, same here. Enjoyed it, and as always, very competitive tournament. Glad to be here.
Here's our final, 82-63. Remember, the WAC championship game comes up next from Las Vegas. Mike Tirico and Len Elmore. Thanking you for joining us all week here at the AT&T Big East Championships, a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sport. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network at go.com. 20 years of Big East history. Louis Carter second, St. John's with a couple of titles. 6 for Ewing and Thompson. Boeheim led Syracuse to a few titles. But tonight, the Huskies belong right on this stage